folks, Mudge here again. On October the 23rd, 2017, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, an extra special show for you. Do you know this man? You should. If you don't, allow me to give you a little bit of background on him. Brad is a wilderness survival instructor, photographer, independent researcher, advisor, and a computer programmer. For over 5 years, his Pythonic trending algorithm has sifted through and filtered the critical news events from around the world that the aware need to know. Now, what did I just say? Well, folks, he gets rid of the fluff and gets rid of the fake and gives you the facts. He then brings this information to the public on the YouTube channel Full Spectrum Survival. Channel was formed August 5th, 2012, and currently, as of this moment, has over 3.2 million views. Very insightful and very much to the point. But he didn't stop there. He actually created another channel. On April the 24th of this year, he created a channel called Off Grid with Brad and Kelly. And of course, Kelly is his wife. So the description reads as follows on this. Join Kelly and I as we go completely off the grid.
Like it's hot.
Subscribe for a complete adventure into the life of self-sufficiency. From a county of over 900,000 people in Florida to one of just over 9,000 people at the southern base of the Appalachian Mountains in Alabama, we are making our homestead and working the long journey to live completely off the land. You'll find off-grid information, survival and preparedness videos, homesteading lessons that we learn, and we will show you all the things that we learn as we work toward our goal of complete independence. What chickens are best? Can you get enough milk from a goat? How much solar do you need? Off-grid cooking? How to make butter and cheese? Composting toilets? They're going to answer all those questions and more by showing you how they do it. So stay tuned as we present Brad Harris, Full Spectrum Survival.
Hello guys, gals, trolls, anyone else that may be in the room.
There you are. Oh,
There
got
we
both
go.
of them.
Yeah, cool. Mississippi. How's the weather where everybody is? I hope it's doing okay. I looked at ours for the rest of the week and it's supposed to snow on Saturday. Yeah. I think it's time we're old enough. We need to move out of Ohio. Yeah, I would think so. Gosh. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I usually go on a few minutes before we have the guests on anyway, so I'm sort of chit-chatting with them and just finding out how everyone is for the evening. Ooh, down to freezing tonight. No, yeah, Finger Lakes Prepper, no, that is the S word. You're right, it's that 4-letter word. I always told my kids not to say. De Jesus Family Farms. How are you there, Skinny Minnie?
Whenever you're ready. I think we have them ready.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and open up the curtain and make sure your questions are in all caps. If I don't catch them, one of our mods will, and they'll smack me with their little troll, and we'll get that question answered for you.
So, here we go. Hi, Brad. Hi, Kelly. All right, repeat that again. I want to get your mic right here. Go ahead.
Okay, we're glad to be here.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Great. So, somebody out there, it looks to me like it should be broadcasting fine. So you folks let me know. Oh, we got a drum roll maybe. So how are you folks doing in Alabama?
We're doing good. We're glad to be out of the Florida heat and preparing for an actual fall. You know, we spent our life since our childhood in Florida, and you had 2 seasons, really hot and then wet and cold.
Yes.
And we're glad to see a little bit of a change. And like we were just saying, we have some cool weather coming up this coming Saturday, and we have to hurry up and get the pipes underground before it freezes.
Yes.
Wow.
Backwoods Raised already asked why you shaved the beard.
We're doing some different things. You know, I guess the basic answer is I get tired of things, and nothing will stop me once I get tired of something. I'm just off and done. And so Kelly and I, a couple of times, you know, it was a little bit more unruly than I appreciated.
It was hard to manage.
And a couple of times we said, you know, I'm going to shave it. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to shave it. And then I just finally went and shaved it.
Yep.
Wow. So, yeah, I knew there was something different about you. I wasn't sure what it was.
There's quite a few people here that noticed it.
Yeah, a lot of people noticed it. So, anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, back to babyface.
Yes.
Back to babyface. So you had, well, no, we'll get into talking about that here after a bit. I don't want to spoil one of the trivia questions coming up. But
Okay.
So I have a question for you. You have very, very recently moved to Alabama. That was this year,
That's right.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and out of Florida. And I don't know what your, you know, how you resided in Florida, but obviously you are now into a tiny house.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
And this is something that you're finishing on the inside.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And just over a year ago, I think it was in September of last year, Brad, you did an interview with Doug from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy.
Right.
Did that interview have any influence on you to make this switch here in the very short time frame thereafter?
No, it didn't. We in 2006 or 7, somewhere around there, we moved out onto 40 acres in Florida, and there with my brother, we had a tiny home that we had built. It was a 15 by 40, and so we lived in that for how many years?
5 years.
About 5 years. Yep. And then work came calling, and some other things came up, and so we moved back to the city.
Yes.
Back from Mayaca over to Tampa, Florida, which is just far too many people, but it's where we grew, and it's where kind of work just took us, and we just couldn't stand it.
That's the Disney World area, isn't it?
Yeah, very
It's
close.
pretty close,
Yep,
yeah.
very close. We were by the shore, by the seashore all the time.
Yeah. Too
And-
many people.
Yeah,
And-
900,000 people in our county.
Whoa.
And we just,
Yes.
that's not the kind of place that's where we grew up, but it's not where we wanted our children to grow up, where you could not let them out of your sight, even in the front yard.
Right.
Wow.
You know, it's just not the environment that we wanted for our kids. And so we knew at that point it was time to start looking, and we want, you know, we are very frugal people. We don't believe in spending a lot. We don't believe in going deeply into debt. And Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, this was kind of the breadbasket, if you will, for that type of living where you can live nice, but still frugally.
Right. And we were able to find land in the states, Brad said, for a more reasonable price.
Right.
In Florida, to get out of the city, to get into, you know, the country, you're looking at 3 times as much as we spent out here for a little sliver, and still, you know, we weren't fond of the Florida weather.
That's right. Yeah.
So
We looked at some places in Florida, and you're going to spend $45,000 to $85,000 for 1 acre in a decent area. And even then, there are so many stringent restrictions and rules and building codes and everything that you're going to end up spending almost double that just to build something of your own and try to live that homestead lifestyle. And that wasn't what we wanted.
Oh, I can certainly appreciate that. Well, one of the other questions that comes to mind, and I guess this can apply to both of you, but do you folks homeschool your kids?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, Kelly was a teacher back in Florida, and she did some teaching for younger kids, and we knew that was really what we wanted to do. And so I was not very good in school. I was not a very good student. Kelly was an epic student. She was a very good student, but school didn't work for me in that regard. And I wanted to help our children and be a part of their education and be a part of their upbringing, because otherwise, if you don't, and I don't have anything wrong with people who have their kids go to school. The curriculum's horrible, of course, and they're being force-fed certain things, but I don't have a problem with it. But if you don't, you're losing out on 8 hours of your child's life every single school day.
Right.
And that wasn't what we wanted. We wanted to be a part of that and not just see homework from a teacher, but see our children advance and really know that we walked with them as they learned to be adults.
Right. And we were lucky enough to be able to have the ability to do it and give them that, one-on-one attention and work with them the way they needed. We could see, oh, well, you're advancing in this, but you need more time on this. So we didn't have to rush certain things and that sort of thing. So it kind of, we're grateful that we're able to do it.
Right.
Great. Absolutely. That's,
if you guys, if you will, feed me any questions. I don't want to sit here and look at my phone the whole time to try to watch what people are saying. So if anything comes up, feel free to throw them at me, even if it's just question after question.
Yeah.
That's usually what I try to do. I try to catch the ones that are in all caps, and I'll definitely go ahead and let you know.
Yeah. In the meantime, I guess we'll just talk about I don't know, sports or something. So let's so let's do that. Do you have any hobbies that you enjoy on a personal nature?
Our hobbies, we really do what we love for a living. So photography is a hobby that we're able to get paid for. We're able to do what we love. I'm a computer programmer as well, but I'm on the autism spectrum. So if I'm told I have to do it, or if I'm forced into a social realm to do it, I don't want any part of it. But being independent, I'm able to go out and get jobs for scripting and get jobs for things like that and do exactly what I want to do. Other than that,
I enjoy, baking, sewing, and those kind of also go into
what we do.
Just everyday life. Yeah, so I guess we incorporate what we love into what we're able to do every day.
Right.
Okay. Well, this is obviously your first year in your location there now. Do you have plans for like a big garden for animals, for I'm going to say the typical homestead environment?
Yeah, we call it the starter package. You have your homestead starter package, and that's a couple of Rhode Island Reds, maybe a goat, and your garden.
Right. We do have plans for livestock, and we're doing raised bed garden.
We're building them out right now, the raised beds.
We're building them out right now. We're trying, we have to learn the seasons here. It's a little different because Florida, it's hotter a lot more of the year. So, and we will be getting chickens, and we're still kind of researching the ones that work the best in our area with our climate and everything like that.
Yeah, we have some, we want some broodies. That's what we had back in Florida.
Yeah, so we'll be getting some silkies because those are like the best ones.
And we're thinking about doing a little bit more rare breeds to kind of proliferate those rare breeds. But we're undecided of which ones we'll pick up yet.
Yeah, there's too many.
Bee Lady here is asking, she has a lot of, I'm not sure, IOSAT, potassium iodine tablets. Are they okay?
Yes, right.
Are they okay? Are they okay if nuclear stuff begins to go into the air?
Yes, you'll want to watch out and make sure that you get them from a reputable source. Potassium iodide there are some sources out there that sometimes they even come from China. You wouldn't believe, like we would accept, potassium iodide for a nuclear fallout from China. But absolutely just check on them, make sure that they're well managed and well cared for. If you email me fullspectrumsurvival@gmail.com, I'll give you a couple of great pamphlets on surviving nuclear fallout, which is something that is on the table right now with the contentious political climate and environment that we have between the U.S., Russia, and North Korea.
And she wants to know what dosage is good. She says hers are 130 milligrams. And how about her doggies?
Her doggies. Okay, just be lady, email me, Full Spectrum Survival. Everybody's dosage is not necessarily dosage, but everybody's intake is kind of tailored, especially on animals.
We wouldn't want to give a specific amount just off the...
I do have some literature on animals and helping them survive. Just please email, and I'll make sure, I promise I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, and Crimson Fantasy has asked, how do you see your channel in 2 years? Now, he didn't specify which channel, but...
Okay, so Full Spectrum Survival, we've been working at since 2013. That's a tough one because right now YouTube and Google are really censoring freedom of speech, freedom of information, and anything that kind of goes against the mainstream narrative. So on our Full Spectrum Survival channel, where we produce a daily news update Monday through Friday, we see 100% of it right now demonetized by YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's a touchy subject for me because it takes about 3 hours worth of work starting at the programming algorithm that I built and boiling everything down until what finally gets published to YouTube. So to know that I can't have a fruit from that labor is certainly not debilitating, but it's definitely a
challenge.
A challenge. Yeah, it's a hard thing to manage. Now, this is happening in the homestead community too, where videos are being not suitable for advertisers. And what is happening is this is a soft censorship.
This one will be. Every live stream we've done for the past 3 weeks, almost immediately it goes, this is not suitable for all advertisers.
Yeah, they're hitting in places you would question, well, why are they doing this to homesteading?
Right.
Well, it's going against the mainstream narrative.
Yeah.
They don't want you to think about, self-sufficient living and how to do all of this. That's going against you being dependent upon them.
Yeah, exactly. So and you'll get a lot of people that will say, well, YouTube's as a private sector. It's not, because it's monopoly, and YouTube owns so much of the video market that it would be silly for a creator like you guys or for like us to go anywhere else. And then the other argument is that, well, if you don't get paid for it, oh well, that's fine. But what will happen is the quality of content will continue to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle until the only people that publish videos are the people who don't really, they're just doing it for for giggles, or
they're not really providing you with consistent content right. Like all of these channels are right now that are being hit.
Right.
BC Truck has 2 questions. First one is, what R value do you insulate your walls to, and what kind of heat will you be using?
What was the second one? What kind of what?
Kind of
heat will you be using?
Oh, I've got to show you this thing. Honey, will you go grab it down? Okay, so we're just getting ready. I'll answer the heat one first, Brad. We're just getting ready to burn in our wood stove. We have a cubic mini. You guys have got to see this. It is absolutely amazing. It's a beautiful piece of craftsmanship. Oh, you're not going to be able to lift it?
No.
If you're not, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
I can't.
Okay, it's on the loft. So it's a cubic mini. It's very small, but it is made to heat tiny homes. It's made to heat yachts, things like that. Very confined spaces. But it puts out so much heat that it's good of up to 500 and...
just over 500 square feet.
Right. And
it's too big. I can't
It's too heavy, yeah.
Like too heavy, yeah.
So we're going to use wood to heat our home here because our goal is 100% self-sufficiency by the end of, we're hoping by the middle to end of 2018.
Yes. Yep.
And so we're going to kind of diversify everything and have propane as a secondary. We're going to, kind of make sure that everything falls in line so that we can work through as many hiccups as possible that we come and come at us.
Yep. And our insulation was
we're recommended for R13. We did R11 here because this tiny home is made out of 2x6, 2x4 walls. And so we couldn't do R13 on the inside without compressing it. Mm-hmm. So we talked to a whole bunch of insulating experts outside tube, and they said that if you compress it, you're doing the same thing as R11. So why not just go with R11? Let it create the insulating gap of air and see how it does the first year. So far, we've gotten down to, I think, like 38 somewhere around there.
Yeah, and inside we were at 68.
68, yeah, with no heat and nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. Country Girl has asked, how much property do you have, if you don't mind sharing?
Sure, I don't mind sharing. We have a little over 2 acres here at our primary site, and then when we first got to Alabama, we made a purchase that was kind of we made an agreement to each other that was, we'll just buy the first piece of property that we can find.
Right, that was within our price range at that time.
That's right.
So we found 0.7 acres.
Right.
And we jumped on it and bought it, and then realized
it wasn't exactly where or what we wanted.
Right.
And so we looked a little bit deeper, found this one and said, okay, this is home.
Yes.
So I guess, a little over 2 and then 0.7, just, a couple hundred feet away.
Yeah.
Well, and on the flip side, Backwoods Rays is asking, Brad, your weight loss was awesome. What was the main thing that you cut out that helped you lose that weight?
Yeah, so I lost over 100 pounds. I was 245, 245 the last time I checked the scale, so it could have been more.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I did was just ate less and did more. I just ate less, exercised more. But Kelly was just talking about it today, I did make a lot of choice changes. One, we went almost no processed food because the high fructose corn syrup, the high sodium value, all the things that are in processed food, mac and cheese, canned food, things like that, are really they're not the best for your body. So we went, and this was a struggle for Kelly because the burden fell upon her to cook for all of us.
So that's where I liked to cook and bake and all that. It was helpful for that.
Yeah, so I cut out all processed food and cut out all sweets. I eat very little sugar now, and no soda pop, no sweet tea, no lemonade, no anything like that.
All of that, and the real big one is we sat down and figured out how many calories we were eating compared to how many we actually needed, with all the work we were doing. And I mean, it was way more than we needed to.
Yeah, so, the U.S. pyramid, the U.S. nutritional pyramid is set on 2,000 calories for an adult male, but that's an adult male who goes and digs ditches every day.
Right, very, very active.
Not me sitting on a computer. So we kind of took that into account and said, okay, we need to change our lifestyle, and we scaled back to around 12 to 1,400 calories a day.
It was a low-calorie diet. It was.
But don't get me wrong. If we are putting out work, we are eating like crazy.
Right, and you can feel when you need to consume more. You can just tell you're exerting too much.
Yeah, but now I'm down to 145, and I really just can't keep the weight on unless I try really hard and push to eat more. Just change my metabolism.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't seem to have a problem. I think I've found the 100 pounds he lost. Here's another one from B Lady.
Wait, just a second. I think I have one before that. Gentleman by the name of Discovery says, my wife wants to know how you can get by with such a small spice rack. So that's kind of tied into the food thing.
I have another one, not up yet.
Yeah, that's the one that's right by the cooking area. And then she resupplies that.
Right,
one.
There's some down there that are on the stove, and I have a whole nother one. So.
All right, well there you go, Discovery. That's just a partial spice rack.
Well, and here, are they spraying for Zika in your area? And if so, how do they protect soil and plants?
That was B Lady's question?
Yes.
So the general consensus between the government and the research documents or research papers and universities that feed them information is that there's an acceptable level for soil uptake. And so they allow soil to be sprayed with chemical pesticides, airborne pesticides, really all these potentially dangerous chemicals through a mathematical figure that says you and I will only take in a certain amount of this if we eat a normal American diet. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of flaws to that thinking. And so the short answer is there's nothing that anywhere is doing to protect the world from all of the dangerous chemicals that are going into the soil. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a decline in soil viability just in the reparations that are happening to be made to bring soil back up to somewhere where it provides a nutritious daily meal of nutrients and vitamins for you and I. As far as if they're spraying here in our area, no, we don't have a lot of agriculture here. We're really kind of out in the sticks.
We are.
And so if there's a plane going overhead, you better watch out.
Yeah.
We have a question. What are you going to do with a raised garden in Clay County?
Yep. So we are, like we just said, we're repairing the soil. Mm-hmm. So we're going to bring in rabbit manure. We're going to bring in soil from other areas and make our raised beds there.
And on our property that we purchased, there's areas that are so overgrown with brush that once you start digging, it's almost like
beautiful soil.
It's beautiful soil that's like already composted for you almost. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna, put some of that in with the soil that we have and get it to the right, balance for planting.
Okay, Brad, your video has just gone a little bit haywire. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and let me just put Sherry on the screen here. We're going to see if we can't get that video fixed.
Okay.
You want to try to drop me?
Oh wait, you're good. You're good. It came back.
Okay.
I was going to have you drop it and come right back, but you're good now. So.
If you're able to drop and bring me back, I haven't seen you guys for quite a while.
It won't load you.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, so if it's okay with you, just drop me and bring me back, and I think that'll be a quick fix that we won't have to do it again.
Well, let me do this because we have a very good picture of you, and the audio is very good. I believe that's what it is here. So,
yeah, it looks like it.
So let me.
Yeah, Fingers Lakes Prepper video glitch. Got that right.
Yeah, I just get buffering on my side. It's probably my connection. No, there you are.
Okay.
Okay, what I did is I shared the screen so you can see a little bit rather than try to do the double video on the thing here. So what you're looking at there, Brad, is my OBS software, and the picture that you see with you and Kelly, and that's the one that's being broadcast, and the other one isn't on deck.
Okay, yeah, you just let me know if we have a problem again.
Yep.
Well, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Bumblebee Junction is asking, how are your boys adapting to the heat, and do they like the new house?
So for us, it's a cooler environment, and they absolutely love it.
Oh, yes.
My oldest boy at 11 years old, he has already picked out his spot on the property where when he becomes an adult, he'll build his tiny home.
Already planning it.
And for us, that's a dynamic that works really well. Mm-hmm. We love being together. Mm-hmm. We have no problem. We're going to do a video soon on can you handle a tiny home?
Yes.
Because I think for a lot of people, and even many within my own family, our own family, mm-hmm. they couldn't handle being around each other.
As much as we are, yeah.
Yeah. For us, it's never been a problem. Mm-hmm. But when he becomes an adult, he's ready to, move on to his own house, and he wants it to be right within walking distance, which is, just fine for us.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Breakaway Homesteader, we love your survival cards. With an expanding audience, will you both continue to provide those?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, we have a giveaway. So and I didn't have a chance to let you guys know 2 Family Homestead. So anybody, you guys do the pick 2 Family, and we will send out a pack of the survival cards to whoever you pick as the winner off of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay, well, we'll have to come up with something here then.
Okay. It's kind of throwing a curveball at you. Maybe if somebody sends a message that says I'm in or I'd like one, and you guys just pick one randomly, and we'll send it off to them. You just let us know after the show.
Bob, they said just a little over 2 acres. Is that correct? You said a little bit over 2 acres that you have now?
That's right.
Okay.
And the person asked about
I'm not going to sing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The person asked about our Patreon campaign. So every month, like I said, photography is not just a hobby for me. It's what I love to do, and it's also a business. So for every month, for anybody who doesn't know, we go out and we take high-resolution footage, high-resolution images around our area, and we incorporate those. We weatherproof the cards, and then we incorporate them with a survival tip. So I'll just give you guys an example. On the back of this one, the front is, if you can see it, is an ambulance. And then on the back, we have the survival tip that discusses what you would look for in the first stage of a economic or grid down scenario where people will target ambulances and what they'll be going after there. So every month we do that with a number of cards, and we draft a newsletter and send that to all of our Patreon members, because they are really the ones who keep the World News Update going on our channel. So we wanted to give back to them in a way that we thought might one day protect them or save somebody's life.
That's a good idea.
Well, and let's talk about that just a little bit. And we really haven't, but you have a very active following with Patreon.
Yep.
And I don't know if you, Sherry, or one of the mods can put the Patreon link up. Maybe somebody can go grab that for them.
B-Lady, Coco, if you can grab that link, it would be great. Post it.
So tell us a little bit more about the Patreon, the different levels, the cards, because I'm sure that we have some people in here that are not at all familiar with you.
Okay, so our Patreon account, I think I might have just lost my video. Are you still seeing me?
No,
Yes.
no,
They're gone.
You're multicolored.
Yes, we see that.
So just turn the video off and turn it right back on, and that should maybe clear it up.
Okay, I'm off and then back on.
Oh, green squiggly.
There we go.
I still look like...
There you are.
Now, okay, so I didn't want to be Max Headroom there. If anyone remembers Max Headroom back from the 80s and 90s. So for our Patreon campaign, we really only have 2 levels. One is just someone who wants to support our work on full spectrum survival. That's basically $1, and they're going to get access to all the research links that we do for our daily news update, digital versions of the photography that we take, the survival cards.
And any articles that we put up there on various topics.
That's right. And then the next level is the $10 supporter. At the $10 level, they get the survival cards in the mail, delivered to their doorstep each and every month. And after they've been a member, I think we're going to try to go for just over a year. After they've been a member for a year, they're going to get a pouch to put them all in. And they're really, they're very durable. They're waterproof. We have a lot of our members who put them right into their survival packs.
Yep, and binders and that type of thing.
That's right. And we talk about really just a wide range of things for survival and preparedness, whether that's starting a wetwood fire or preparing for someone break into your home.
Wild edibles.
Yeah, natural remedies, things like that. And we've had a couple of people who have already said, wow, these have really come into play for us on a personal level, because they ran into a situation where they remembered something from one of the cards and it was able to help them. It wasn't life or death, but it was able to help them, proliferate and really get through what they were going through.
And you do this on an international basis as well.
That's right. Yeah. So The reason that it's $10 a month is because we're $5 into each set.
Yeah, just in the picture printing, the laminating,
the mail out,
and for postage, we have quite a few international that it costs us almost $2 or more, depending on where they are.
Just for the mail out. And rather than charge extra for international people, we just blanket it and absorb it and just let it go.
We're doing it because, we want to make sure we're giving back. We're showing our thanks and how grateful we are for everyone, that is able to help support us on there.
Okay, and we have another question here. Says, how do you capture and store water? I know that I heard in one of your videos you have a well or going to be drilling a well, and maybe that's county code or something, I don't know, but let's talk about your water situation for a moment.
Okay, the first and one of the real reasons we chose this spot is because we are within a very short walking distance. Basically, right at the edge of our property, we can throw a rock into water.
Yes.
This is part of a local river here, and we have always access to water. Now, we can bring that water right here and use right here to my right. We have our big Berkey filter. This is the 4-gallon model, and we use our Berkey filter every single day, and we have for
I think we're about 7 years, maybe.
Yeah, about 7 years. And it's the Berkey Blacks inside, which have a coconut husk filter. We have always enjoyed the water that comes out of it, and we're always assured that what's going to come out is not going to be tainted with bacteria, radionuclei, things like that.
Right. Yeah.
So that's step number one, and really why we bought this property. Step number two is we have access here to both county water, right, that ends right at the end of our private road here. And we have, like you said, we're going to be putting a well into this location. We also have rainwater catchment that we're installing here on our tiny home.
Yep.
And we have a slow sand filter that we've built. For anyone who doesn't know, a slow sand filter, they were used to develop municipalities outside of the 18th century. So right into the 1900s, they were still in use. And what a slow sand filter does is it uses variations of charcoal and pebbles and fine sand, and it filters water. It'll filter out viruses, cryptosporidium, really all the nasty stuff. And the only reason that our big cities don't use it today is because it would take such a large slow sand filter that it would not be worth the space that it takes. So they chemically treat the water anyways.
Well, and
so we have that. Go ahead.
That's typically used on a lot of swimming pools, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. That's right, yeah. And if you look into slow sand filters and then fast sand filters, the slow one's the way to go. You basically allow what's called a schmutz deck. It's a biological layer to build on the top, and that's really the first step that breaks down everything. And then by the time you get out the spigot at the bottom, you have beautiful water, no matter what kind of nasty junk you put into it.
Yep.
Okay, we had another question here that, again, this is perhaps touchy, I don't know, so you answer if you want to. You are asked if you are in the Guntersville area.
No.
There you go.
Sorry, I took too big of a drink of coffee. No, we're right next to Clay County. We're only an hour and 45 minutes away from Atlanta, Georgia, on the east side, right at the southern end of the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay. Well, actually, we're in the Appalachian foothills, but we're up in Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're on the other side, I think, and definitely a lot further north.
That's right.
Yes.
So I think Cher's getting a couple more questions together. So while she does that, let's rotate back to something we just touched on just a little bit earlier.
Wait a minute. It's 9:38.
Oh, I was just been told that it's 9:38, so that might be a cue that it's time for us to do one of our trivia questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me cue that up here real quick. We'll do that. Here we go. And we'll just run that over. Okay, folks, and as you know, every week we ask you a couple questions, And if you're the winner, we send you a $2 bill in the mail. So here's our rules for our trivia. You can only win once every 4 weeks. You must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as received and recorded on the stream here at Two Family Homestead. And please, you must send us an email with your address within 48 hours to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. Otherwise, we have no idea where to send that $2 bill. So, having stated the rules, our first question is, what is the name of the video that Brad has made that has the most views? Either channel. I didn't think we'd stump them that easy.
It's recent.
Yes.
Yes, it's only
very recent.
a couple weeks old. No, it's not the outdoor shower breakaway, Homesteader.
That's a half win. That's the largest one on the Off Grid with Brad and Kelly channel.
Yeah, but that's not the largest. That one is pale in comparison to the other.
Sure is.
Well, Lonely Prepper, I have an idea that everybody thinks everybody's scrambling, so they're not doing it.
No, it's not weight loss. Not an outdoor shower. Daniel, it's not pancakes. How to handle liars. No, Jen, that's not it either.
Bob's got it. Yeah.
Yes. Bob Homestead.
Yep.
So the Las Vegas, we did a video on the Las Vegas shooting on the Full Spectrum channel, and it wasn't until that video came out that I really saw the change in personality of an entire social genre, where, in that video I discussed that we live in a world of danger and we need to be prepared for that. And there was so much contentious discussion on that video about that, ban guns, get rid of this, everyone will live better. And this really dream utopia of a peaceful world that I hope a lot of people get out of before it's too late.
Okay. So Bob Homestead, winner Bob, send us an email with your address, please. If I'm not mistaken, he has won before, but it's been long enough ago. So he's getting rich off our channel.
Oh yeah. Yeah, $2 a week. Woo!
Okay. So, but that's going back to the question that I started to ask. We had talked about YouTube's demonetization, the pittance that they do pay creators, while they're shoving millions in their pocket.
Right.
So do you have, what are your thoughts on alternative currencies, Bitcoin or bartering and so on and so forth?
As soon as the US dollar came off of the gold standard, we were on a very negative path. It was a path that will inevitably end, just as every empire has ended in the history of humanity, and that's with a collapse. This empire will fall, and the USD will fail eventually. For anyone who doesn't know, that dollar that you're holding and that you pass on to somebody else is nothing more than a paper promise. It's a promise to that person that you're giving it to that dollar is worth 100 pennies. Then they can turn that in anywhere in the United States or anywhere that the US dollar is accepted. They can turn that into 100 pennies. And all it takes is a break, a hiccup in that ideal that's worth that much, and you have an economic collapse. We had a very quick start to the ongoing economic collapse that we're in right now in 2008 during the financial crisis. And what we saw is control mechanisms go into place that will buff up the falsity, buff up the fiat currency, and get it even further away from a dependency upon real world value. And back at the end of that, people will say, well, gold is only worth as much as somebody will pay for it. Yes, that's true, but it is the oldest currency used by mankind. And so everything else should be built upon that. Now, with Bitcoins, with alternative currencies, they again are only worth as much as the community or the society as a whole places their value. So they have a danger zone there. Well, I do have some digital currency. I do have some alternative currency. If I had to choose something between the US dollar, digital currency, one of the other alternative currencies, or bartering, I would choose bartering each and every day, because I would much rather give my skills or something that I have already acquired to somebody in return for something else on a level playing field. That to me is worth much more than that promise to pay.
Yep, well spoken. Well spoken. I kind of wanted to just touch on it, just because I know that that right now with virtually everybody on YouTube, I mean they've gone nuts with their demonetization.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's only going to get worse from here.
So,
I don't know how much the community, your guys' community, really looks into it, but this is a sanctioning tactic. So you think of the government as a large corporation. If the U.S. government is a large corporation, what do they do to curtail the actions of other countries, of other large corporations that they don't like? They sanction them. They make it so that the fruit of their labor isn't viable in any way. They don't allow partner nations to trade with them. They stop them from importing and exporting on certain ways. So that is a sanction. So this demonetization and censorship on YouTube is a sanction. It's a sanction that is supposed to get you and me and our entire community to change our ways and to stop making videos about how to grow your own food, how to treat yourself for illnesses, how to be aware of your environment and how to protect yourself. Stop you from making those. And instead, let's talk about the freedom of gender choices. And let's talk about, 10 hours of cat meowing videos and double rainbow videos and things like that are much more friendly for that advertiser. Because at the end of the day, it's about YouTube making money. And so we already see this taking place. We already see this sanction changing the actions of people within our own community. So instead of making the videos that they were making, they have slowly shifted toward making videos that are more likely advertiser friendly. And that's a very dangerous thing, because if you look at this over a 5-year period or a decade, you're going to see an entire shift in the social section of what you and I consider to be homesteading, off-grid, and really awareness-driven information.
Well, and to talk about the advertisers, I guess the part that really grinds me, if a company spends its advertising dollars on radio, they don't control who listens. If they spend it on television, right, they don't control who watches. Granted, they do have it maybe with what particular program or show, but in a radio sense, I mean, they're throwing their money out there. It's no different. I mean, they could, if they're throwing their money out here on to Google, who cares if it's with if they're advertising something that maybe is not exactly what the video is connected with. It doesn't matter.
And let's face it, at the end of the day, it's YouTube's job to place an advertiser on its most likely accessible content. So to say that your videos, Two Family Homestead, or our videos, or someone else's, there's an advertiser out there for everyone. There's advertisers who don't care what their stuff is on, just give them a price break. It's not about that, though. It's about changing the behavior of you and me.
So, okay, and I've got a couple of questions here that Sherry handed me. So let me get these out of the way. This is from the Bee Lady again. From your experience of living in the city, do you have a set of survival cards for urban dwellers?
We don't have them separated between urban, rural, or different scenarios. We have them kind of all mixed in, and we try to place one card for each possible scenario, at least possible genre in each pack. Mm-hmm. So we'll have a natural medicine or wild food. We'll have a security. We'll have a general preparedness, mm-hmm. and we'll have a campcraft or something like that. And we don't limit ourselves there, but that's kind of the generality that we noticed. Right. So that as somebody builds up a whole collection of their cards, they'll have a full collection of rural, mm-hmm. full collection of urban, full collection of wild edibles, things like that. Right. We've covered a lot of urban things. We've covered like the ambulance one you just saw, which is going to happen. This is on our trigger system, on our tier, that when the economy or when we're experiencing a collapse in one form or another, you will see ambulances get called out and then get ransacked. So they'll get called out, then the criminal entity will take over them, take all of their goods, and leave them there. Mm-hmm. And you'll see this happen systematically. So we want other people to be aware of it so that they can watch out for that, so that as the economy continues to worsen, as we continue to see things get worse and worse, you can say, okay, well, I saw that happening. I know that things aren't getting any better.
Sue Woods has asked, how and where is the best place to hide, I'm going to say medicines, medical survival stuff?
Caches are big for us. We cached before we even came here. So as we kind of took a leap of faith in ourselves to come here from Florida, we cached before we even got to the city. We stopped and got a storage unit, and we put a large amount of our goods inside there in an open, accessible storage unit, and we cached in another place that is more remote. Mm-hmm. So a cache is a good place. For anyone who doesn't know, a cache is an airtight, weather-tight apparatus that you're going to put your goods in and put it somewhere where hopefully only you know about. Mm-hmm. If you're doing medical, you'll want to keep it kind of not exposed to the environment. So treat it like a spoilable food. You don't want to put it in something like a Mylar bag with oxygen absorbent tabs inside of it. And then you'll also want to stop it from getting too much humidity or too many cold, warm variations. So try to put it underground.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Tim's World has asked, do you have indoor plumbing?
We do have indoor plumbing. We had considered going just the composting toilet, but we wanted it to be, I don't want to say normal for our kids, but standardized. Mm-hmm. So we have the normal indoor plumbing, mm-hmm. and then we're also building an outhouse where we'll have a more off-grid plumbing system. Mm-hmm. So this is really neat. In a lot of third world countries, they will build an outhouse, and after they've used the outhouse for 6 months, you plant a tree right on that location. You bury it in and plant a tree. And then they'll take it somewhere else, use it for 6 months, and plant a tree. And this provides a very fertile ground for the tree to grow in. So we're going to adopt that system here on our property.
Yep.
Okay, and Country Girl has asked, what is the best advice as far as survival when you live in the city?
Be prepared to get out before everyone else.
Yep.
That's really the best advice I can give you. That was on our survival plan for the time that we spent there, is that you have to be on top of what's going on around you. So if everyone, let's say something a large event took place. Let's say you had a meltdown at a nuclear facility or an earthquake that caused a secondary meltdown. You need to be aware of that and make your decision to leave before everyone else does. Mm-hmm. Same thing goes with almost every scenario for survival and preparedness. You've got pandemics you want to move before the masses do. You've got social unrest. You want to get out before the riots take place. So just key in your information gathering. Look to things like listening to a local police band radio. It's a little bit harder now that they've made listening to the SWAT channels and the restricted channels illegal. You can still gather a good amount of information. Listen for EMS and fire department, because EMS and fire is going to go to an event no matter what. And just make the decision to be ready to move with an evacuation pack or with a go kit as soon as you can.
Well, and I guess we've just had some examples of that with the weather situations we've had this year. The
That's
hurricanes,
right.
if you're not on the early bus, you're just in line forever.
That's right. And you look at places like Puerto Rico right now, which is a place where we as the United States of America are supposed to be taken care of as if it were a country connected to the continent.
Right.
And they are still in near lawlessness in Puerto Rico. You've got the gang and predator element who has risen to power, and there are so many areas that are still without electricity that they're just rampaging through those areas. So this is a modernized region that is just being destroyed by a gang and predatory element. And then on the other side, you've got places like Syria, where just a couple of years ago, Syria was a modern, Western medicine-driven, high Christianity population country, and is now just completely demolished into, a ghost skeleton of what it once was. So these things can and do happen in the first world, and we just need to be prepared for them to happen, whether it's natural or man-made.
Okay, and Jatan has asked, and you've at least touched on this, if not already answered, but how do you capture, save, and store water?
Okay, yeah, just store it really in any way that you can, and then be prepared to filter it and treat it. Sawyer Minis are a great investment.
They really are.
They're $19 at Walmart, and they will filter 100,000 gallons of water.
And they're just this little.
Yeah, and they're going to take out all of your bad bacteria. They're not going to take out all of your radionuclei. They're not going to go to that level, but they're going to take out the bad bacteria. So if you're talking just drinking water that you pick up out of a pond, that's going to be the thing for you. Just be careful that you're not picking up wastewater where you have chemical pollutants inside of it.
Okay, and repeat the name of that product again.
Sawyer Mini, Sawyer, and they're at Walmart. They're on Amazon. They're only $19. Please.
Just
Waterborne disease is the #1 killer in our world. It kills more than wars. It kills more than violence and accidents all combined, because people don't know how to filter or boil their water. So one of these units at $19 might save you or someone else's life.
Well, not a question, but Bumblebee Junction should not go without being said that Kelly is looking ravishing this evening.
Well, thank you very much.
I am lucky. We've been together for 13 years.
Yes.
And we met at a nice young age, and we knew it was love then. And we've been apart maybe 3 nights since then.
Not very often.
Not very often.
Very good.
Yep.
The question, B lady, and she says maybe it's a tough one. What 3 to 5 events, in your opinion, mean it is time to hit the bank and get out?
I assume that she means to a retreat location or to a bug out location, or maybe she means to just evacuate to anywhere. Anything nuclear, of course. Our world is still suffering from the ongoing radiation disaster that is coming out of Fukushima. When the Fukushima event took place, it is literally a world changer. They are expecting 40 years just for the half-life of some of the elements that are being released every single day into our ocean. And so this is something that over the course of decades, over the course of centuries, you're going to see huge change. So anything local on a nuclear level, we just get it out. Leave it all behind, go somewhere else. If you have a larger event like a nuclear disaster from war, then you have to, of course, make your decision to either hunker in place, or if you have somewhere that you can, or get to a better environment. Pandemics are big. Madagascar is having the largest outbreak of the plague that they have suffered in decades. Bird flu. All of the researchers are saying that the world is absolutely ripe for the next avian influenza virus. So we are just kind of watching those things in particular. But it's not all doom and gloom. That's a big thing that I like to point out. We don't have a fear-based survival system. For us, it's all preparedness.
Right.
So anybody listening, if you know how to camp and you learn how to camp, then you know how to survive. So practice camping, get out there, spend a night out in your backyard. If you live in the city,
just pop up a tent in your backyard and go for the weekend.
Yeah, like anybody can do it. Leave a 5-gallon bucket of water just out in the open, and that's going to mimic river water that you come across, and you'll have to treat it because it will have mosquito larvae and all sorts of nasty stuff inside of it. Yeah. Just get out there and camp, and you'll know how to survive a disaster. Yeah.
Very, very good. Very interesting.
Do you have any more? There's a few more questions here.
Well,
I was going to do
another trivia thing because of the time here. So
go for it.
Let's put the trivia screen up. Okay, read the rules real quick one more time here. You can only win once every 4 weeks. You must be the first person to answer the question correctly in the chat window as it's received and recorded on the stream here at Two Family Homestead. And you please send us an email with your mailing address within 48 hours to twofamilyhomestead@gmail.com. And what I didn't say the first time, and I'll say this time, if your email doesn't contain some sort of link to what your screen name is here, please identify yourself so we know who we might have. So for question number 2, this is going to be I'll give you a couple hints because this one I pulled right out of a video, and the video came off the Off Grid with Brad and Kelly channel. So let me pull that across. What was the cost of the tiny house shell that Brad and Kelly purchased?
Now, will you allow a generality here or exact dollar? I don't know if we mentioned exact dollar or within the hundreds.
Well, you mentioned a figure in the video.
Did I? Okay.
And both of those numbers are high. I will tell you that. We'll kind of help you. Bumblebee, you're low. Freaky Geek, it was more than 2 cents. And Southern Ark, you're low. Teton, you're too high. Bob Homestead, you are way too low. Too high. Oh, BC Truck, you're pretty close.
What was that show on Price is Right? What did they do the numbers on?
I think that was The Price is Right.
65.
Yep.
Closer yet.
Oh, getting there.
Bobby Sprinkles at 6 and 65, so we know it's between there. 64, no.
Clock game.
Almost. 65, no. 66, no.
Sounds like horseshoes.
There we go. Noah's Ark, 1962. $6,300 is the price that I heard. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
$6,300.
Backwards Raised asked a question, what do I think the most important survival item for someone to have? Historically, every homesteader, everybody's grandma or great-grandma, they were survivalists. That was just a matter of homesteading. And the one thing that sets us apart from everything else is an edged tool. So go out and get a full tang knife, something that's reliable, and practice the fact that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So have redundancy in it and have 2 full tang knives that'll treat you well.
Jatan is asking, what kinds of essential oils, antibiotic, vitamins do you recommend saving?
Let me get that off the screen up there.
So essential oils, we don't really take many ourselves. We take in a more natural. We try to fill that into our diet plan. As far as things that we save for our own preparedness, our own intake, we do colloidal silver. We make a great colloidal silver soap just for our family.
Yeah.
We also use it in other ways. As far as vitamins go, we have a long storage of vitamins, and you just need to not pressure seal them, but oxygen seal them.
Yep.
And because oxygen will make the vitamins degrade over time.
Country Girl wants to know, what's a natural antibiotic that can be stored up?
Colloidal silver is a great one.
It is.
You can even make it yourself. We did a PDF on how to make one. I think where would we post that?
I believe that was on Patreon.
That was on Patreon. Okay, we did a PDF on how to make a colloidal silver generator.
Yeah.
But they're very easy to make. You don't have to go there. You can go online and find something to do it.
Yeah.
It's definitely something everyone should at least know how to create. Colloidal silver is used in everything. When you go to the store, the grocery store, and they say that your shopping cart is antimicrobial, that's because the plastic has been infused with silver nanoparticles. So it is in use all across the medical and civilian world.
Right.
And it's something that we should, store too.
Absolutely.
Do you know of any viable substitutions for insulin for someone that might have diabetes?
That's a hard one.
I do. Please let me look into it. I don't want to say the wrong thing off the top of my head. The first thing that I do want to mention about insulin is check out this video called the Raw Diabetes Diet. I think there's a free version on YouTube. So a physician took a wide range of insulin-dependent type 1 and type 2 diabetics, and they got them all either into complete remission or at least lessen the effect the diabetes had on their family with this raw diet.
Every single thing they ate was raw. Absolutely everything. And it's a huge life change, but all of these people, just said that, some of them didn't even have any dependency anymore at all because of the diet change.
Wow.
And the first thing that Western medicine will tell you is that's impossible, that can't happen. Your body is just the way it is. You have to live with it and now take these prescription medications. We don't believe that at all. If you look all across Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, over in India, I think with Ayurveda and some other Indian medicines, they alter the body's reception and actions all the time. And it's in literature that Western universities adhere to. So just look into it and see if there's an option out there for you. I know me personally, I was pre-hypertensive, and the doctors told me you're going to have to get on a high blood pressure medication. My dad's hypertensive. My grandfather was. They're like, sorry, this is just your lot in life. I didn't believe that at all. Made diet changes and exercise changes. And I now take my blood pressure at home like once a week. The last time I did, I was 116 over 69.
9 or something.
Yeah, that's beautiful for my demographic.
Compared to how it was a drastic change.
Okay, and we have another one here. In an SHTF situation, what do you think, in your opinion, would be the best tool to have?
That was from Backwoods Raised. I think that was the one I got to. Definitely an edge tool. Okay. So go out and get a full tang knife. There's a lot of great ones out there.
Yes.
Make sure that it's actually full tang. Try to get stainless steel rather than carbon. Carbon's going to be easier for you to bring back to an edge, but it's also going to be more susceptible to rust, and you're going to have to take better care of it. Adhere to the fact that you're going to need to be redundant with it because everything breaks.
Always have an extra.
But an edge tool is going to allow you to make a bow drill, to make a fire, to make your traps, to get your food, to protect yourself for security. It's going to really step you away from the potential of a real disaster taking place.
Okay, and I don't have in the notes here as to who requested this, but somebody would like for you to cite your source for your comments on Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I asked them just to email me. I asked them in the chat just to email me, and I'll send you the link. No problem.
Okay. So I want to let everybody know we've been on for an hour. We always do this at around the hour time mark to let everybody know that we've been here an hour. We don't want to take up too much of your time, and we certainly don't want to lead our viewers into an area where they don't like to go. But I'm going to leave it up to our guests, and I'm going to leave it up to the audience here. If you'd like to go a little longer, we can certainly do that. I'll
tell you what, we're good. We're good here for another probably 15 minutes.
Okay.
We are an hour past kids' bedtime. We're very structure based.
Yes.
So bedtime is 8 o'clock like every day, but they're up there on the loft playing nice and quiet.
Yes.
So as long as that continues, we're good for 15
When
minutes.
you start hearing them, then that's our cue.
That's your cue.
Okay, well that's more than fair. We certainly appreciate you stretching that out.
Well, since
Sure.
we are going for 15 more minutes, let's do a third trivia that Brad and Kelly said for the survival cards.
Okay.
There we go.
When was their survival channel created? Month, date, year. See how many people are going to bring up a new tab and do what I just do what I just did.
The loft is 7 foot above the head on the bottom loft. It goes up to a cathedral peak. We're going to do a video on it soon of the whole tiny cabin. And then you get, what is it, like 3 feet? You get like 4.5 feet at the center.
Yeah.
And then it just peaks down.
Yeah.
Like church cathedral peak.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little tough for me up there. And so I've adopted to sleep, down, because if I need to get up quick, I need to get up quick in the middle of the night.
No one wants a head bunk.
Well, they don't want to be left out.
The bee lady.
Close.
Bee lady.
Thanks.
Close.
Right?
Oh no, Zark, you're only 5 feet. So you have the headspace there.
Yeah. The bee lady is very close.
Well, while we're letting them see if they can find it, there's a question up here. No, I lost it. Do you special order foods you cannot grow in your area and can dehydrate store? If yes, what kind?
Yeah, we're proponents of getting the food that you want. Getting the natural food that you want. We're not in an environment that we can grow as much coffee as we want to use every day. So of course we're going to buy some 100% coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Same way with things like chocolate and things like that. We just can't grow those here on a level that we want to, or the processing time doesn't reward you for the time that you have to put into it.
Right.
So we, of course, outsource those, and then the same way we did with Florida, our plan here is to just be as self-sufficient, be 100% self-sufficient. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't take some of what we make, sell it, and go buy something else with it.
Right.
It just fulfills that full circle there.
Right.
Okay, and we do have a winner here. We had somebody that answered it correctly first. We didn't say anything. They've already won, so they're not eligible. But the first person that actually put in the correct date is the Bee Lady Apiary. So, Brad, do you want her just to email you?
Yes, please. Yeah, you just send me an email, BeeLady, fullspectrumsurvival@gmail.com, and I'll get the cards out to you.
Yep.
Okay. So that was different. And Brad, thank you very much. We've had a couple of guests that have kicked in something extra, and we certainly we certainly appreciate it. I think the folks really appreciate it as well.
Sure, no problem.
So, you folks have how many children?
We have 2 children.
2 boys, yep.
And we think that'll be it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because in one of your videos, I thought I saw 3 kids.
That might have been just one of the friends of the kids.
Okay.
With 2, Kelly is reminded that she's been wiping derrieres for the last 11 years. And
or at least assisting.
Yeah, so because we went from just one getting out and then into another.
Yep.
And so we think that we're ready to be adults for a little while. Yeah.
Let's talk just a little bit more about the food storage and so forth. Right now in the homesteading community, there seems to be a huge push on Thrive Life foods, which is freeze-dried foods. Mm-hmm. Are you a proponent of freeze-dried foods for storage and so forth, or more just the process where you would be interested in getting a freeze dryer yourself to produce whatever food you wanted?
So freeze dryers are very cost prohibitive for the average person. Mm-hmm. If you have a group that will all chip in together, then that's absolutely the way to go. We don't really do a lot of freeze dried in our preparedness because they're so sodium rich, especially when you look at camping or things that you can just buy on the shelf. They're inundated with sodium and some other stuff that we wouldn't normally want in our foods. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that the same isn't with canned food. You go to get canned corn, you have to get the low or no sodium kind just to stay away from it.
Right.
But freeze-dried has its own place in survival, preparedness, and bushcraft and camping. Mm-hmm. We use it, but we're not very big on it. We would much rather carry the weight of a can, like a canned corn, and then you're having the liquid to aid you in your survival and preparedness rather than taking away from your water stores to make the food edible.
Or just forage off the land.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know you're a survival instructor, at least that's what I've read.
Yeah, that's right.
Is this something that you have classes that people can sign up for? Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. Back in Florida, we had semi-annual classes, so we would do them every 6 months. We haven't set up yet here in Alabama what we're going to do, but we have tossed around with a couple of people who live in our region who said, okay, as winter comes, let's do a get-together. But I'd rather do get-togethers than classes and everybody share everybody's knowledge, because to me, I'm no expert at everything, but I want to learn from everybody else and adopt that into my own family and my own survival and preparedness planning. So
yeah, we're always open. We don't believe our way is the only way to do things. Right. And we all of our videos, we love suggestions from people, because somebody might be doing something a different way that we're like, oh, we never even thought of that. Right. Of course. So we love to learn from other people, and that's why a get together over a campfire and everyone just shares shares their knowledge, asks questions. That's really fulfilling, I think, for everyone.
So if I do any sort of instructing, it'll be at a capacity where I'm hired on to do it at an event.
Mm-hmm.
So are you looking for somebody to promote an event like this, or is this an event that you guys would tend to promote yourselves? And if so, how would people find out about it? Will just be videos on your YouTube channel or channels that would talk about it, or is there different blogs, Facebook, different media outlets?
We're kind of YouTube centric. We do both have personal Facebook that you can go and look us up at, and we use that for our work. But it's really just it's just us on Facebook. We don't use it for our channel or anything to any great degree.
Right.
So when we do plan to get together, we'll do it mostly through our YouTube channels, but we'd like to get together with other channels of like minds.
Yeah. And
really plan something that as many people can come to as possible, and go to like a state park or something like that where we could just fill it up and all have a great time.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to assume then that there wouldn't be a qualification, if you would, for somebody to attend something like that. If they have a genuine interest and yet they really know nothing about it, they'd probably still be welcome to at least attend.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be even better, because for everybody else who has knowledge to share, that's a sponge, that's a clean slate.
Yep.
Jatan says, when you shaved your beard, was it a message to your viewers to watch the government?
You'd be surprised. I had a lot of people who enjoyed the beard, and I enjoyed it as well. Kelly liked it. But you'd be surprised at the judgment you get from the official sector, especially here. It's just as bad in Florida.
Yes.
But you really do get a different eye. I spent I had never been followed through stores as much as when I had a big beard. It just gave off a different persona to people,
right. Different looks.
And I would much rather be the gray man that no one suspects of anything and act quickly than I would rather be suspected or intimidating up front.
Okay, and David Deere has made a statement in here. He says, I have to disagree with you on carrying the canned food with water. Please expound on that. Thank you.
Okay, so when I go camping, when I go spend time out, I'm going to still carry some can with us. Now, if I'm going for 5-6 days, I'm not going to carry enough canned food to provide me my meals for the entire time. I'm going to bring with me lightweight, carbohydrate-intensive foods like oats and rice, really staple food products. And then I'm going to add in other things to it. But I will carry some can with me. I was more talking about survival and preparedness planning,
right,
or homesteading. Would it be better to dehydrate or buy dehydrated or have canned? And the great thing about homesteading, or even having a mobile kit, for your car, is the weight doesn't matter as much, and you can carry it with you. Plus, you're always carrying that liquid with you.
Right.
Okay. And David, I hope that answers your question. If not, please repost, and we'll dig deeper into that subject.
B Lady asks, do I have any plans to raise beef? It's very hard, in my opinion, for a very small farm. Oh, beef. Oh, sorry, beef. Well, let me get to beef first, since no one asked. It's very hard to raise cattle on a small scale and make it beneficial for your family, other than that they're not getting antibiotics or any nasty stuff given to them. It's not economic, because you're not able to compete with the large cattle growers. As far as bees, I enjoy that I'll provide a skill or a barter to somebody who raises bees, just because it's outside of a personal want that I have. And I know that statistically, everybody's immune system can change, and I would hate to base a large part of my skill set on an apiary and then risk my immune system changing and me having a reaction to, or one of my family members or children having a reaction to a bee sting that they might not have had in recent years.
Okay, and I think I heard Kelly say earlier that you're going to have a goat, or you have a goat. Is that correct?
No, we're going to get, we had goats back in Florida, sold them to move back to the city, and then we're going to probably repurchase goats here. We're not sure exactly what we'll do there, but most likely goats for their milk.
And I'm sure somebody's going to ask what kind, so.
We had Nubian Alpines in Florida. That was really our choice. We had a dwarf Nigerian, but she was kind of tarded. Sorry if that's offensive. She was a special goat.
Okay.
There you go. That's good.
And so
she was happy.
There goes the monetization again. You just kicked another advertiser off.
Oh yeah. So we'll probably do Nubian Alpines again. We didn't have any luck with the whites. What were the whites?
I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
Those ones.
They seem to be more susceptible to disease. And we didn't have any luck with them. Mm-hmm. So probably Nubian Alpines.
What about dogs? as a I'm going to say like a personal guard dog type. I'm not talking an ankle biter, but I'm talking a dog that you typically
let
find.
you know when someone's there.
Yeah.
Like ours.
Yes.
Yes. So for me, a dog is a great alarm system. It's a great warning system, especially if they're trained properly and they don't just bark at everything or howl at the moon at night. So we have a German Shepherd who will only bark. Luckily, I'm very thankful, only bark when I would deem it necessary.
Yeah.
So somebody's walking in a way that she doesn't like, she's going to be aggressive. Somebody's walking too close that she doesn't like it, she's going to be aggressive. Other than that, she'll just walk up to you and lick your face. But a great dog, very watchful, really cares about the kids, stands in front of them for any other animals that come around. And so that's my choice, is the German Shepherd. But I also, Kelly wants a Great Pyrenees for the animals, but I wanted to talk about a little bit more of a contentious species, and that's the pit bull. Pit bulls, in my opinion, have a place in a less than ideal society, because that pit bull has so much strength to it that it should be used as animals have been used, beasts of burden have been used for all times. It's ever since they've been domesticated. And it should be a warning system and a security system for your farm or homestead. And so we have that in our long-term plans, is to have a little bit broader outlook in our breed choices as the society and as the as the economy and everything curtails our needs.
Okay, and let's go ahead and kick some more advertisers off. Pistol, rifle, or shotgun?
Say that again?
Pistol, rifle, or shotgun?
Yes.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. So I carry a pistol. I think that a shotgun is, an immensely important home defense and close range weapon. You just can't beat putting that much lead down range. Mm-hmm. And then a rifle is going to do exactly what it's supposed to do and reach out and touch someone.
Okay. Okay. That should be generic enough. Maybe we didn't piss off enough people. I don't know.
Now, when you get into revolvers or semi-automatic, that's where you're going to make people mad. I believe that a revolver is a great all-purpose weapon, and I believe that its downside, its negative aspects, which are speed of reloading and low ammunition capacity, I believe that those can be overcome with proper training. Aside from that, when the S really hits the fan, or if you have local or regional duress, a revolver is a no-nonsense weapon, and anyone can pick it up and just keep pulling the trigger until it goes off.
Yeah.
B-Lady says these folks out here have flamethrowers.
Flamethrowers. That's how we keep the weed control down.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That's right.
Goodness.
So on your 2 acres, how large of a garden do you plan to have?
We plan to do it in kind of 2 aspects. We're going to have our raised bed garden, mm-hmm. and then we're going to have a cut walking path that is kind of a living garden throughout the entire property.
Right.
Oh, pretty neat. Okay.
We had so many different herbs and stuff like that in Florida that we unfortunately we couldn't bring it all with us, and I'm missing it now. So we're slowly getting into rebuilding that herb garden. So we're gonna kind of have different sections of a garden of things that complement each other, and then are nice to look at.
Yeah, and Bumblebee Junction, I see them in the chat room there. We've had a lot of great discussion outside of YouTube about gardens and about creating that living pathway where you'll really make the most use out of the area that you have. At one spot, you'll have a little pedestal bench, and you'll have your garlic planted there. At another spot, you'll have your sweet potatoes planted there, and then your onions, and then your mints, and it'll really be this living part of your property that kind of takes care of itself.
Now, I'm assuming you have to clear that with your son first.
He won't
Right.
mind.
We just won't take his spot.
Yeah, you have to make sure your pathway doesn't cross his area.
Right.
That's right. I see that in the chat room, there's a decent amount of discussion about weapons.
Yes.
The biggest thing that I could say is train well.
Yes.
We did we did and do some intensive training with anyone that we shoot with, and training is really where it's at. That skill is a depreciating skill, especially at longer distances.
Yes.
But safety is really important. You really have to know that tool's job is to destroy something that it's pointed at. And so I suggest to everyone, if you have a weapon, a firearm for self-defense or preparedness or anything, please talk with somebody, talk with an instructor, let them drill into you through practice and togetherness and kind of a cohesion that weapon is only pointed downrange when it's hot and when it's loaded. It's only pointed at something that you are prepared to destroy, and it is never shot without the intention to destroy something. Never just pull the trigger.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how accidents happen.
Well, that and it should be ongoing. It shouldn't be, well, I'm going to go to a class and then just forget about it.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. You have to keep up with practicing, or you're going to lose that sharpness with it.
That's right.
So I cannot believe their kids are just a few feet away from them. They've been so quiet and so well behaved all evening. Amazing.
We are very lucky. We have two very well behaved boys.
Yeah, they must get it from their mom.
So you're not claiming any of that, Brad?
No, only with kind love and discipline.
Yes.
Okay, well, we have carried on. It's about
10:30.
Yeah, it's 10:30.
Way past your kid's bedtime.
Yeah, it's way past your kid's bedtime.
That's true.
So we
Boys,
certainly
say goodnight. Okay, come say goodnight.
Oh.
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate you folks giving us your time, taking your time. I hope that perhaps we've passed your word around to some people that were not aware of you.
Yeah,
And,
I love it. I always love your guys' shows. I really appreciate what you do, and that's bringing people onto your channel with different opinions. And really, we can all learn from each other. We can all discuss different things about homesteading, going off-grid, survival and preparedness, because what's in my wheelhouse and important to me might not be the same as yours, and what's in your wheelhouse and important to you might not be the same as mine, and we can really learn from each other, and that to me is perfect.
Well, and besides that, there is also this age difference. You know, what's good for us at our age maybe doesn't apply for you at your age.
Yes, that's right. And we believe in the community. So I think that if you have a part of your community, a member of your community, and a group, you're going to have just that. You're going to have people with varying skill levels. You're going to have people with varying dependencies and needs and different age groups. And so the better that a person can get together in that community and really build that group together, the better off we'll all be.
Okay. And I know that we've had a few new people in the chat here tonight. So I do want to remind you that the chat does stay with the stream, and the stream does not get deleted. So you'll be able to watch it at a later date. You'll be able to follow right along with the chat because it is embedded into the chat window, or the chat window is embedded into the stream. So I see a couple young folks here.
Sure are.
Would you like to tell us who you are and maybe how old you are and
how old you are and what your name is?
I'm Zachary, and I'm 11.
11
Almost
years
12
old.
in December.
Oh,
12 in December, birthday coming up.
December baby. Very
Yeah,
good.
too soon.
How old you are?
And how old are you?
This one right here.
This right here. This is the very shy one. This is Tyler.
You can tell.
Tyler,
if he had about 30 minutes,
we wouldn't be
able to stop him.
Yeah.
But
our youngest granddaughter's the same way.
Exactly.
Kaylee, if she doesn't know you, she will stand behind me.
Yeah.
But give her half hour, and she's your best buddy.
Well, Tyler, it was very nice to meet you, Tyler. And the other name was Zach?
Zach.
Mm-hmm.
Zach?
And
okay.
he's turning 12 in December?
Yes, right. He is. Yep.
Our granddaughter, one of our granddaughters turned 12 in July. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
pre-teenagers.
Zach has to suffer that, yes, that's right. Zach has to suffer that Christmas and birthday. We don't celebrate Christmas in the religious sense. We celebrate it as the
holidays time. Yeah.
And that's very close together. So Hanukkah, Christmas, and the holiday season are all very close to his birthday.
Yes.
And so he gets a little
yes.
He gets either the best of both worlds or has to share them between the two.
Yeah.
Except when Hanukkah's in November.
Right. Then it's far enough away.
which it was a few years ago.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for having us on here. Thank you to everybody in the community for being here and all the questions. I know some had to go by without us being able to get to them. If we didn't get to a question, please email me, fullspectrumsurvival@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and love to give you whatever answer I can find on your question.
Okay, and thanks everybody in the chat. It's been a wonderful show this evening. Brad, Kelly, thank you both so much. It's been a great time. So folks, we appreciate you being here, and we will have something different for you next week.
Yeah.
We're going to have a chef.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a cooking show, if you would, next week, or at least he does a lot of cooking.
Sure does. That he does.
So be sure to drop back in and see us on that one too. Thanks so much for being here. You all have a great week.
Bye.